Gareth!
What are we here to do? To kill? No. We are here to break the will of Poland so the Reich may reset the bone. You know the rules. I will choose 10 of you to starve until the missing prisoner is found or until death. This is fun.
I got children now!
I can take his place. I'm Brother Paul!
Don't leave me. Don't leave me, Albert.
Where have you been these past 2 years? To believe in heaven or a God? Certainly you couldn't have been living in this world.
That's right. We have our voices. We must hold on to our hope. Don't give up. Finish the race. This is not possible. Tell me, how are they still alive? I believe that somehow, on the other side of this savage life, everyone who has gone before us is watching, beholding this moment. Love is the realest thing. No one can take that from us, even now.
We'll try.
Good evening and welcome to the Triumph of the Heart U.S. premiere. We are live on Facebook and Instagram and across YouTube here at the University of Texas at Dallas campus. They've graciously welcomed us to a beautiful theater. We've got a red carpet, and soon the stars, the cast, the crew, the writer, the director, the producers, the VIPs who are here to celebrate the launch of this incredible movie into the world. My name is Katie Prejean McGrady. I'm the host of the Katie McGrady Show on the Catholic Channel on SiriusXM, a Vatican analyst for CNN, and I work with a couple of other media apostolates and have written books. And the Triumph of the Heart crossed my desk. It came to me years and years ago. Anthony D'Ambrosio, who we're going to introduce you to tonight, and you certainly know Anthony, the creator and the director and the brains behind Triumph of the Heart. Anthony reached out to me and said, "We need a fundraise. Can you help?" And so over the years, Triumph of the Heart has appeared on my show on SiriusXM. So I was so touched and honored when they asked if I would come and host their red carpet and introduce you to the incredible folks who have made this movie a reality. Now, a couple of things you need to know about how this is going to work. We've got some of the cast, the people in this film. We've got some of the benefactors, people who donated to make this film a reality. We have folks who love this movie, who want you to go see this movie in theaters this weekend. But most especially, we want you to feel like you are a part of our live stream, that you're here celebrating with us as Triumph of the Heart starts to hit theaters later this week. And so as the cast and as the crew and as our guests join us on the carpet, we're going to be interviewing them, talking to them, sharing about what we love about this movie. And if you've got a question or you've got an insight or you're just excited about something, drop it in the chat. Let us know. They're going to tell me and we'll bring it into the live stream. Right now, as we're live, there's so much activity. Eventually, it's going to get a little louder. There's going to be more folks walking the carpet like a real movie premiere because this is a real film, and we are so excited to bring it to you. But one of the things that I'm most excited about is hearing the impact that Triumph of the Heart has had on folks in the world today. This project began, and you'll hear shortly, this project began as a little 12-minute idea. And then it became a 20-minute, let's use this to fundraise. And so as we learn a little bit more about this, we've got folks that are going to be joining us. In fact, I think right now we're going to be joined in just a few minutes by the director of photography who shot this beautiful movie. We've got the writer and director. If you see me looking around, it's just because I'm kind of like Catholic Joan Rivers tonight. We're going to bring people into the conversation and introduce them to all of you and have these discussions about what makes this movie so exciting. So once again, if you've got questions, if you've got an insight, we're going to bring people into the stream in just a minute. I say the stream, onto the carpet in just a minute and introduce them to all of you. We're going to start off with the producer of the movie. Cecilia is going to join us on the stream. Cecilia, it's so beautiful and so great to see you. I did not realize how tall you were until this precise moment. Tell us a little bit about who you are and how you came to Triumph of the Heart.
Yeah, so I am the producer of Triumph of the Heart. I have known Anthony for about 10 years, and back in 2017, we made the short film version of this movie. And so when he called me up in, I think, 2022, after he had written the script, it was an automatic yes. I love working with him, and I was like, this is a movie for our time, and Maximilian Kolbe is just so amazing, and I've learned so much, and it's been such a journey.
Did you have any connection to Maximilian Kolbe before this, or was it like, this just looks like a really great artistic project, I want to be a part of it?
You know, I did not have much of a connection to Kolbe. I, like most Catholics, I think, knew that he was the guy who sacrificed his life in Auschwitz to save another. And that's about the extent of what I knew about him. But I tell you what, I have learned so much more. And oh my gosh, what a human. Yeah.
One of the things I loved about the film, and I've only seen it on screeners on a laptop screen, so I'm very excited to see it big screen. But y'all do such a beautiful job of bringing us into the moment where Kolbe decides, yes, like I'm going to do this. Tell us a little bit about how y'all kind of crafted this sequence of flashbacks.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So one of the tricks with making this movie is that about 70-80% of it takes place inside the cell, right? So we knew that that would be not a very exciting movie to watch. People wouldn't be able to stand that. So we had to come up with ways, and this is really Anthony and his creative genius had to come up with ways to take the viewer outside of the cell, right? So we had all kinds of flashbacks, right? There's some key characters that have some really, really beautiful flashbacks. We had some amazing locations in Poland, and it gives kind of a visual break from just being in that like dark gray cell. And yeah, it's 100% like necessary, like as a viewer, to kind of have these little breaks where you go into a flashback, or you even just like literally go outside and like see the sun. Yeah.
What is your favorite part of the whole film? And I know that's a difficult question to ask, but if somebody's watching this, they go to the theaters this weekend, what do they need to look out for?
So there's a scene between Albert, he's kind of the young man, one of the main characters, and Colby. I think it's my favorite scene, and it's very simple. There's like, it's just the two of them sitting at night. They kind of wake up at night because there's like a rat that like scurries across the floor, and they wake up and it's just them alone together. And Albert, this character, Anthony will say this, that he kind of represents like, each of the characters represents Anthony in a different way, but Albert is kind of like really the heartbeat of the film in a lot of ways. And so it's this moment where Albert and Colby connect, and Albert is just asking kind of really genuine, vulnerable questions of kind of this like why suffering, why are we here, those sorts of questions. And it's just the way that Colby responds is just really beautiful, and it's just a very slow and rather long scene, but I think it's so powerful, and I hope that it will speak to many, many people.
Cecilia, congratulations on all of it. We're so proud of you. There are so many folks who are watching who are very excited about this. Enjoy your walk down the red carpet and the party tonight. I'll see you at the after party as well. So thanks so much for taking the time to join us, and congratulations. Of course, absolutely. Cecilia Stevenson, everybody, producer of Triumph of the Heart. We've got more folks joining us in just a moment here on the red carpet, where we're bringing you a live stream of the U.S. premiere. Now, I keep saying U.S. premiere because they premiered this movie first, and it was very important that they did in Poland. This is where the film was crafted and created and where it is set, and it was very important to Anthony to make sure that the Polish, who of course love Maximilian Kolbe, were the first ones to see this. Now we've got some more folks joining us on this live stream for the carpet shortly. You can see a lot of activity. We've got a director of photography that's chatting down there. We've got more people. If you've got any questions and any insights, or just you love the movie, maybe you helped contribute, you fundraised for it, or you have a ticket for this Friday, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. One of the things I love about this film, and you're going to hear me say this as we wait for more folks to join us on this live stream of the Triumph of the Heart premiere, one of the things I really appreciated about this movie, it's not fast. It's not an action flick. Sometimes you think perhaps of a film that is telling the story of something quite dramatic, like the Holocaust, or this moment where Maximilian Kolbe sacrifices himself for a man with children. And I have to say, what's beautiful is the thoughtfulness. There is a pacing to the film that allows you to get to know these characters one at a time, and collectively as this group of men who are dying in front of you. But one of the things I really have appreciated about it is that the movie's not like rushing you through. The movie is giving you an opportunity and a chance to kind of sit with and chew on these ideas. As these men are starving, you are being fed. As these men are dying, you are coming to a deeper understanding and awareness of life in Christ. At the same time that this is a movie that makes you think very deeply about our faith, it is certainly told through a Catholic lens. People who just love movies, who just love cinema, who want to go see a great film, well, Triumph of the Heart is the movie for you. Now, I'm going to take a second. I know they've got more folks that are going to come join me on the carpet. We've got more people who are going to make their way down the carpet to have these conversations. We've got a ton of press here. If you know anything about how a red carpet operates, you invite press, you invite media, you invite photographers, because people want to tell the story of this movie. So we've got some great Catholic outlets here, Shalom World and Catholic Mom and Catholic TV. We've got some folks from EWTN, of course. We're very grateful to EWTN for sponsoring this premiere here at the University of Texas at Dallas. If you're just joining us, we've got coming up on our live stream of the Triumph of the Heart U.S. premiere, Anthony D'Ambrosio. He's the creator of this film, and I'm using creator very particularly. He's not just the writer, he's not just the director. This was from his mind, from his heart, a film that tells the story of his own personal suffering. And so as more folks join us on the carpet in just a few minutes, and of course, as we're able to introduce you to these people, you know, if you don't know anything about the movie, if you go to kolbemovie.com, we'll drop it in the chat so you have the link, kolbemovie.com, you can find where the movie is playing close to you this weekend. Grab a ticket, walk on up, make it a family affair. It's not a happy clappy movie by any means, but it is a movie that will inspire great joy. Joy in the Lord, hope in the Lord, the promise of resurrection, that suffering has a point. What I think is really interesting too, and I'm just going to do my Catholic radio vamping while we're waiting for our next folks to join us here on the live stream of The Carpet. You know, yesterday in our Roman Catholic Church, we celebrated 2 new saints. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. Amy, how are you, Amy? Welcome to our Triumph of the Heart red carpet premiere. Tell us a little bit about who you are and the roles that you got to play in the making of this film.
Well, I'm Amy Cimarelli. My little sister actually plays Mary in the movie. Yeah. So I decided to go with her to film to like be her like moral support. And so it was actually really an incredible experience. I went to Poland with her and my parents, and I got to like run around the set while I was there with her, and I like assisted people with things. And
so you were like an assistant director of the film, obviously.
Yeah, more like assistant to the costumer. I was like getting pins. I was like following my sister around. It was like filmed in like a very old jail, and I had like my mask on because I was like, I can't breathe in here. It was wild, but it was like such an incredible experience, and I was like, this is so awesome, and I'm like so excited to see how it like all came together because I haven't seen anything yet. So I'm like,
so you haven't seen the movie yet?
No, I haven't seen the movie. I've seen some clips. I've seen some photos. When I saw my sister in costume, I flipped out. I was like, oh my gosh.
So folks know, and we're not going to give anything away, but she plays the Madonna of the film, and it's a pretty significant role because Maximilian Kolbe has a deep devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary. So how appropriate that we're having this premiere on Mary's birthday, September 8th. Tell me a little bit about your devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary and how that helped you kind of aid your sister as she was playing this role.
Well, okay, it's so strange. Like when I was a kid, I started praying the rosary all the time. Like I must have been probably 13. 2008, yeah, I was like 13. And so I just started praying it like every day when I was like a kid. And I would like, it sounds so, like kind of lame, but like I would leave my little siblings in it, and like we would have a lot of fun. And then I just like kept doing it, and I do it all the time now. And like Mary is such an incredible figure, and not only to like the Catholic Church, but in general. And I love how she's so specific to the Catholic Church and like the reverence we have for her as a woman, because you don't see that in other churches as much, and how just incredible her role is. She's like such an inspiration to me just as a human being. I love her so much.
Well, Amy, we're so grateful that you took some time to join us for our live stream. There's lots of people watching, so we really appreciate, and you're a musician, of course. Now, I have to fangirl for a moment. Y'all's kids' music is like on all the time. Y'all's ABCs are what taught the ABCs to my youngest. So tell people where they can go listen to your music.
So me and my sisters have a band, Cimarelli, it's our last name, but we also have a kids channel called Sim Kids Music, where we do kids music, and the goal is to make kids music that's not annoying and not going to drive you insane.
It comes up on my Spotify and I don't skip it. So Sim Kids, you got to find it. So the sister of Mary in the movie, Amy Cimarelli, thank you so much for taking the time to walk the carpet, go smile, glitz glam. This guy's going to take your photo. And we've got another person joining us on the carpet soon. We're so excited to have you here. So Amy Cimarelli, her sister plays the Black Madonna inside the film. Black Madonna, of course, is this famous icon, Our Lady of Czechowa. I might be butchering the Polish on that. Nobody call my Polish mother-in-law. But Our Lady is such a huge part of this movie, both in, I think, how the movie ended up getting made, the intercessions of the Blessed Virgin Mary in order to provide the funding and the cast. But one of the other things that's so special is today, September 8th, is the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary. We only celebrate 3 birthdays in the Roman Catholic Church. This is my Catholic radio knowledge hat coming out for you at the Triumph of the Heart U.S. premiere. We celebrate the birthday, obviously, of Jesus. We celebrate the birthday of John the Baptist, and we celebrate the birthday of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And so a film about a man who literally had such a deep devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary, premiering on her birthday, I can't think of a better gift to give the Blessed Virgin Mary. I can't think of a better way to celebrate the launch of this movie into the world. And as we're interviewing our guests, our cast, and our crew, and our producers, and our director of photography, and all the people who made this movie, I think what's really special is that there's such diversity. You've got a lot of Dallas VIPs and influencers and folks who are joining the VIP party, who are going to be walking the carpet. But we really want to tell you a little bit more about how this movie was made and the people that were participating in the crafting of it. So I'm going to turn for just a moment to make sure I don't have anybody waiting in the wings to join us here on the live stream. But if you have a question, if you've got a comment, please join us in the chat and let me know. Who do we have coming up next? We've got folks. Yes. Jessica, come join us on our live stream if you would. We've got space for you right here. Jessica, tell us how you got involved in Triumph of the Heart and the role that you played in the crafting of this movie.
Well, I didn't actually play any role besides praying for it. I met Anthony last year at the Scent conference, and he told me all about it. And so I've been praying for the project, and I got the invitation to come a couple weeks ago. I actually just produced a travel docuseries myself that we're hoping to get out to, the Catholic platforms and all of that. It's about 3 homeschooling kids who travel through Europe and cook with grandmas and chefs.
Hey, that's incredible. Now, have you seen early versions of the movie just yet, or this is completely new for you tonight?
This is new, and I'm really, really excited. I think that I will need Kleenex.
Let me tell you, there's like a point in the halfway part of the movie where it was ugly crying.
Should I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, there's very little mascara on my face because I know what's going to happen. But Maximilian Kolbe, the Blessed Virgin Mary, what's your connection to his story?
So I love St. Maximilian Kolbe. I love Poland. My father-in-law is actually Polish, and so we traveled quite a bit through the area learning about just the history of everything. And my youngest son actually chose St. Maximilian Kolbe as his confirmation saint. And so I think he might be a little too young still to watch the movie. My kids were confirmed when they were pretty young, but I think one day he'll be really excited to watch it. Yeah.
It's definitely an evergreen film. I think folks at home who are watching the live stream might be wondering, how can I go watch it? KolbeMovie.com, and you can find where it's going to be in theaters close to you. And it's one of those movies where I think people are going to keep it in the catalog as their kids get older.
I think that when he gets a little bit older, then he'll be able to watch it. But my husband is actually going to take our eldest child to go see one of the screenings soon. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Enjoy walking the carpet. It's a big moment, so we're so excited to have you here. Where can folks follow you, learn a little bit more about your travel documentary?
I am the real Jessica Ray on Instagram. Apparently there's a fake one out there that took my name, and yes, I'm the real one.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on our live stream. Follow the real Jessica Ray. I think you'll head that way next. I don't know. Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time here on the Triumph of the Heart red carpet. You can see behind us as folks are kind of hanging out over there, Anthony D'Ambrosio. He's the writer, creator, director of this incredible project. And we've got some of the actors who are back there as well. So one of the things that I've really been excited about as this project has come to fruition, as folks have invested and they've shared, and of course they've passed the link around. One of the things that I've really, really appreciated is that Anthony has done this in such a grassroots way. This did not get funded by some big studio. This was the people who love Anthony, who know his talent, who believe in his vision, bringing this to life. This was grassroots fundraising efforts of men and women who said, yeah, I love Maximilian Kolbe, and I want to help make this movie a greater reality. So I'm gonna snag Anthony in just a second. We're gonna get him over here at some point. We've got folks waving him down, but he is such a great guy. I've gotten to know him over the years. Catholic Creatives and the live stream is so excited to get to meet him after his photography moment. So he's having his moment in the sun over there, if you can see that. I'm Katie McGrady. If you're just joining us on the Triumph of the Heart live stream, we're broadcasting across Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and we're so excited to have you here. And we've got Grace joining us. Hi, Grace. How are you? We're going to invite Grace right here joining us on the live stream for Triumph of the Heart. Grace, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. We're so excited to have you joining us. Are you excited to be here?
Me too. Yeah.
Grace, what do you love about St. Maximilian Kolbe?
Okay, well, he had Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He had.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it's rolling, but yeah, you're good.
Love in his heart. Okay, so go ahead.
And so he great love for his heart.
Yeah, for sure. Grace.
And it was teaching us. He teaches us that.
That love.
Yeah, he teaches us that love and that kindness.
Shines. And for others.
Don't apologize. No. This is Grace. Grace is a social media influencer, and she shares about her life. She shares about her excitement. Tell me a little bit about that. What do you love to share on social media?
Yo. Oh well.
It's on. You're on. You're good. You can wave to everybody watching over there.
And so, I love.
I'm a model, I'm a speaker, I'm an advocate.
Oh yeah. I'm an advocate. I'm a model. I'm a speaker. I'm an athlete.
And we're so excited to have you joining us. Are you excited to walk the red carpet? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can follow Grace on Instagram and on social media. She's going to walk the red carpet and show off your very Polish colored dress. We're so excited that she's joining us. Grace, thank you for taking the time to say hi. We hope you enjoy smiling in all the photos. And yeah, thank you. You look lovely. Do you feel good? You're excited to be here? We're so happy that you are here and that you're joining us for sure. She said something really profound there, folks, that Maximilian Kolbe shows us that light shines in the darkness. And I think you show a lot of light in what you share and how you advocate and speak. So we're so proud of you, and we're so grateful that you're spending the time with us here. Thank you so much. All right, Grace is up next, I think, for these lovely photos that are about to happen on the red carpet if you want to walk with her. Yes, Veronica and Rowan. We've got one of the actors in Triumph of the Heart joining us here on the live stream. It's getting a little crowded here on the red carpet. I kind of feel like Joan Rivers at a big movie premiere. I'm going to ask people who they're wearing shortly. We're so excited that we've got some folks joining us. You're coming to me. We've got some lovely folks joining us, and it's going to get a little tight, but that's okay. We're excited to have you joining us. Rowan, it's so nice to see you not on screen suffering. How are you doing? Welcome to the Triumph of the Heart premiere. Introduce yourselves to us. Who are you, and what was your role in this incredible film?
So I'm Rowan Polonsky. I played Albert.
And I'm Veronica Skwaron, and I played Margaret.
Yes. The two of you deeply moved me in this movie, I have to say. Now, all I did was watch it on a laptop, so I'm sure it's going to be much more powerful. How did the two of you come to this project? How did you arrive at this project?
I found it on a casting website back in the UK. So I'm based in London, and sometimes, in between jobs, you're trawling for the next one, and I saw an opportunity to fly to Poland for a film. I have Polish heritage, but had never been, and have always looked for an excuse to kind of get out there. And when I saw the story and the sort of acting challenge that was presented alongside of that, it was a no-brainer, and I was out there, and before I knew it, I was in that cell suffering with the guys.
Well, I mean, I think when you signed up for the movie, did you expect... I heard some stories last night at our little VIP gathering that would have maybe chilled me from ever acting again, but yet y'all seem so joyful in sharing some of those challenges and woes in making this beautiful movie. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I think also that's what we kind of hope for audiences too. We hope that they kind of like enter, kind of go through that with us in the cell, but ultimately leave with some kind of strange sense of joy and relief and catharsis from it all. But yeah, there were lots of moments like that. But I think really for the guys anyway in the cell, what got us through it was each other. Obviously, kind of the dialogue that we were having with Kolbe, both as actors and as people. But there was extremely strong connections built between us, and we all felt like we were brothers by the end of it, and that kind of still continues to this day. So that's kind of what got us through, I think, really.
Veronica, tell me a bit about the role that you get to play, because it's a very guy-heavy film, but yet here you are, this bright light in the midst of it.
Yes, so to be honest, I think it was one of my most, I love this role, and the Margaret's role, because it's a sad but also a beautiful story, and I guess that Margaret will always be in my heart, deep down. And I loved how Anthony directed, conducted the scenes. So he did it in a chronological order, So this whole story from the day they were just hanging out in the forest and meeting, and then the wedding and so on. And we had all of the scenes at the very beginning, and all of this like sad scenes when I could feel like Margaret was losing him, were at the very end. So I had Margaret had something to lose, you know, because of the scenes that were at the beginning.
That's so. We just got a tidbit, folks. I didn't know this, that it was filmed chronologically.
I'm not sure, probably not the whole film, but the story.
So yeah, we were really fortunate in that way that we had sort of a foundation before the stuff in the cell began. So like you described her, she is like a kind of a light in the movie, and certainly for Albert, whilst I was in the cell, we'd filmed all that already, so I had visual memories and experiences with Veronica that carried me through.
That's so beautiful. Well, you guys look great. I hope you enjoy the Polish premiere. I heard was just a rock star party. So we hope the U.S. can match that tonight with our Polish wedding party and all the excitement. So Rowan, Veronica, thank you all so much for joining us. Congratulations on the film, and enjoy the red carpet. Thanks for taking the time to join us. We've got some actors from the movie who just joined us here on the live stream. Rowan and Veronica, they play Albert and Margaret in the movie. And I'm not going to ruin things for you, but it's a happy film in like two ways. Their story and the fact that we have confidence that what occurred in that cell was sacred. What occurred in the cell of these men who died as a result of the evil and cruelty of the Nazis, but who were willing to suffer together. Just so you know kind of the premise, Triumph of the Heart is not just, oh, this is Maximilian Kolbe and here's who this guy is. Triumph of the Heart is a film that introduces us to Maximilian Kolbe's major yes. We are so thrilled and excited to have joining us here on this Triumph of the Heart live stream the creator in just a moment. And they brought him to me a couple times. We're now finally able to join him on this live stream. And this is just how things go like this, folks. Normally, like if it wasn't Facebook or Instagram, we'd cut to commercial. But here we are. We're so excited to join him. The man of the hour. You look great. Anthony D'Ambrosio, Triumph of the Heart, writer, creator, the brains of the operation. Congratulations. How does it feel?
It feels very surreal. I mean, this project has been marked by so much poverty to this point.
Explain that to folks, because there's like story here. Yeah. The poverty of it.
So most movies that are historic, they take tens of millions of dollars to make. Cabrini was $40 million. I think Fatima was something like $16 million. And we were all youth minister missionaries going out literally like we were on a mission trip, you know, on cots and bunks. And we didn't even have enough money for dinner at night. We had to eat soup and broth with the actors who were also sort of losing weight. So all that to say, this was like a very humble experience marked by the Franciscan spirit of Kolbe himself. And so to be here in the trappings of glory in a way, like something that feels a red carpet and everybody in beautiful dresses and getting to be, you know, in suit and bow tie. It's a really beautiful thing, and it feels like God is really telling us, hey, I'm proud of you. This is a triumph. Let's celebrate. So I'm excited for that.
I mean, it's a triumphant premiere for a triumphant movie. But tell me a little bit about the title. So and I'll give you some background. My dad is a huge Maximilian Kolbe fan. He's part of a Kolbe prison ministry, and his men's group is named after Maximilian Kolbe. And he was like, why isn't it just the Maximilian Kolbe story? Well, he's a 65-year-old man who doesn't make movies. But he was struck by the title because it is a triumphant story, even though everybody dies. Like, it's not a secret that these men died. So tell me about that titling of it.
Well, I think that, so one of the greatest pieces of propaganda of the 20th century was called The Triumph of the Will. And it was the sort of the German, I guess, proclamation of their glory. I think that St. Maximilian Kolbe's story is the most opposite that it could possibly be to that projection of power. And so Maximilian Kolbe dying in this kind of vulnerable, impoverished place with his act being completely an act of love. Like everything in him was devoted towards being with other men in their suffering and pastoring them through that. And that is the weakness of Christ. And what we see in the movie, I think, and what we show, and what people experience is somehow in the midst of that a triumph, that over the corpse of the Nazi party, Kolbe's legacy is the one that lives on and that has marked the world even more powerfully than theirs. And that is just that's the truth of Christianity, that somehow in weakness God is exalted.
You've been to his cell, I assume. What was that like to then recreate on film?
When I first went to the cell, it was very much like that prophetic response when God calls a prophet to do something where they say no. She's like, I can't go there. I can't do this. I knew that this would be hard, but I didn't know how dark and difficult of a calling this was going to be. And when I saw the cell, it just immediately felt suffocating. Like there's no way that I could possibly survive meditating on this and sort of inviting all of these other people to kind of enter into this space with me. And at the same time, it was hard for me to see how God could really have won in that and over that cell. But of course, there's the Easter candle that's there. John Paul II placed this Easter candle that I think is one of the most beautiful symbols of who Kolbe was. Like resurrection, a small flame piercing the darkness that ultimately spreads throughout the church and creates a sort of Easter brilliance in the world. And I think that's what Kolbe is all about.
Anthony, we've had you on my show a number of times. We'll have you back for a long sit down because this movie is genius. And I've only seen it on a laptop screen, so I'm excited to see it on the big screen. Congratulations. Enjoy your night. We can't wait to party and celebrate. Folks, Anthony D'Ambrosio, follow him across social media, but make sure you're following Triumph of the Heart too. Congratulations. We'll talk to you soon. Absolutely. Of course. I don't want to mess up your lovely jacket, but we match a little bit. So there you go. Polish red and black and white. So thanks for joining us. And now we've got your DP, Director of Photography, Andrew. It's nice to meet you. Welcome to, we have a live stream going on right now. So Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. Your shots in this film, I know nothing about photography and film other than I like watching them. But there are moments in this movie that are so wrecking to the heart and to the soul because you give space to look at people's faces. Tell me about how you dreamed up some of these sequences and the way that you did this with, in your words last night, 3 lights and a camera.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it's maybe we had a 4th light, but it was all the cell is like basically one big light through the window, which I mean that informed a lot is just the subject material, you know. But a lot of what informed us was actually an artist, survivor of Auschwitz, who witnessed different acts of love from Kolbe before he went to the cell, and as well as other artists, just other accounts. I think it was wrecking for me as well. I remember I was doing DIT, which is like footage transfer every night for the next day, and using the same cards and making sure nothing got deleted, and also starting to cry watching the scene from I think what hit me the most is Rowan's character Albert. His journey is definitely the most wrecking because he had so much hope taken from him, so much hope for a life that now has been completely stolen now that he's sentenced to death here. So did I answer your question?
I'm glad you brought that up because I think people will walk into the movie thinking, and I want to make sure people don't do this, this is just a bio of Maximilian Kolbe. No. And it's not. I heard somebody describe it as 12 angry men in a cell.
Yeah, actually that was very similar format, though we do go outside of the cell some, but that visually that film actually informed us a lot. That film's a masterpiece in cinematography, and how do you take 12 guys or 10 guys in our case in a room and not leave that room and still bring drama. I think the performance actually informed a lot. We planned a ton with where to position them, and all this perfect cinematography, perfect angles, and where they're going to be. And then I think all of that prep kind of primed us for having to let go of it all. Once we started working with the actors in the room, as they became who they were as characters, they kind of informed us where they would be in the room, where they would be in the, in the group when they all slept close to each other, who would be close to who, and which characters have kind of formed. Of course, we had the structure of the script, but Anthony really worked deeply with each actor. And so they informed a ton with where they'd be. And then I quickly adjusted everything to okay, light will be here and this. But the light's coming from one window. That's all we have to work with. So.
Well, it's so beautiful, and it's art. It's one of those movies that I think you watch it once and you'll be able to watch it a second and a third time and catch different things every time, and facial expressions and the composition of all of it. So congratulations. I know you've had a big premiere in Poland. This is a U.S. premiere. What are you most excited for folks to see tonight? Just real quick.
Yeah, I think what I'm most excited about, I don't know about excited, but maybe hopeful is what I've been co-editor as well. So I've been seeing this movie a ton.
In every form, because there's been crafting and recrafting.
Production and post, and so I've consumed this story a lot and helped shape it. And the thing that really keeps being something that I take to heart is how Colby responded to anyone. He treated every single person as equally a sacred human being, a sacred creation of life that has a heart and has a spark of love somewhere deep in them, even the people who kept him in that cell. And how he responded in love and empathy towards everyone, I think, is something that I've been trying to take to heart. I think our viewers will. There's a lot to glean, and there's a lot of hope in this movie. It's an Auschwitz movie, but there's a lot of hope and a lot to learn from it. So,
Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time. All the folks on the live stream, Andrew is the director of photography, the co-editor. Where can we follow you on socials and see more of your work?
Andrew Q. Holshoe, but my name is very long. But oh, gotcha. Okay.
So,
but oh man, I forgot. This is
good.
live.
No, it's live. But Andrew, thank you for taking the time. We're so grateful. Walk the carpet, enjoy yourself.
Okay.
There's lots of fun to be had. It's we've got a comment from somebody, Angela, on the live stream. It always seems impossible until it's done, right? Congratulations. And then they're grateful that we're providing this live stream. When they called me a couple weeks ago, they said, "Hey, we want to do a live stream of the red carpet," and I was like, "Are you sure?" I mean, that's a good idea, but like, what are we going to talk about? I guess we can talk to people. We can Joan Rivers it if we really need to. Somebody said, bless Anthony for his persistence in the making of this story, which is so true. When Anthony called and was kind of getting Catholic Inc. and Catholic media to help make this film with him and to come alongside him and to support him financially and emotionally and with prayers and to connect the whole media apparatus. If you know anything about Anthony D'Ambrosio, you know this to be true. He was a dog with a bone. He would not let up because he knew that the Lord had called him to this. And so what's been so inspiring is the people who came alongside, the actors who were brought in. I'm going to turn around for just a brief moment to see who it is that we've got coming up next to us. Michael, you ready? Come on, join us. We're so excited to welcome Michael Iskander. Welcome to the Triumph of the Heart premiere.
Thank you very much. It's so amazing to be here.
Now, some people are going to recognize you, so let's just say what it is. Michael, of course, is David from House of David. My husband and I just finished watching season 1. We were a little late to it, but what do you love about acting? What do you love about bringing a story like that to life?
That's such a good question. I mean, it depends on the story, right? But I mean, for me, David is one of those figures that just is kind of the culmination of what it means to be human and to sin and yet still have a heart after God and to find forgiveness and to find redemption through Christ. So I think it's one of those stories that just, it hits everyone. Everyone relates to David in one way, shape, or form because, we've all went astray, and it's one of those stories that's worth being told now.
Now, season 2, I understand, is in production. Can you tell us anything about it?
I can. There's an announcement. It comes out October 5th. Okay. Season 2. If season 1 was, the shepherd with the sheep and the poet, a little David and Goliath. Season 2 is war. It is the warrior David. It is the kind of the politics behind the scenes of this young man gaining all this attention and fame and having the current king with his pride become jealous of that and is not very fond of David anymore.
Well, we've all read the Old Testament, but we're not going to spoil it, right? But tell me how you came to this project, Triumph of the Heart. You're not in the film, but you're a supporter of the film, and we're super excited. And just so folks know, Michael has joined the ranks, right? He's part of the family now. Welcome to the Catholic Church, my friend. Tell me a little bit about this movie and what it means to you.
It's an interesting story. One of the first saints I learned about in the Catholic Church specifically was Saint Colby. And, I remember telling my friend, I was like, someone needs to make a movie about that guy. that was 3 weeks ago, and I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a modern adaptation? I don't know, maybe great cinematography, great storytelling. Then a few weeks later, my reps reached out to me and said, hey, so there's this film about this guy named Kolbe, not the basketball player. And I was like, you mean Saint Maximilian Kolbe? They said, oh, so you're familiar with him? I said, yeah, and whatever it is, yes. So, yeah.
So have you seen it yet, or tonight? You have?
Well, many other people haven't. I've seen all of it. Yeah.
Laptop screen,
Yes.
Well, I've watched it a couple times on the screener, and I have a few favorite parts. Without spoiling anything, what moved you very deeply about this movie?
I gotta say, this is. I'm not spoiling anything.
We all know they die.
There is. Yes. There's a celebration that takes place. I don't want to say when, but this celebration, I think it just struck me because it truly kind of embodied what it means to find joy in the middle of pain. That's what I'll say.
Well, Michael will be introducing Anthony and the folks who helped make this film at the premiere in the theater, and then we're going to hang out at the after party later. So we'll bring some more content to folks on social media. Michael, where can we follow you and people can see all your great work?
On Instagram. I don't have any other social media, so they're all fake accounts. Please, I'm not asking for your money, and I'm not proposing. So,
And that is?
Instagram. MICKOOLA. Mikula.
We will make sure that's down in our chat. So, folks, Michael Iskander, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the carpet. We'll see you at the party later. Enjoy the movie. Always great to chat with you. Yeah. Let's see. We've got more folks coming onto our live stream. So there's somebody who said, cannot wait to see this movie on Saturday night in Irving, Texas. I went to college in Irving, Texas. There's a great movie theater out there. If you want to know how you can see, KolbeMovie.com. That's where you need to go. Triumph of the Heart, like Michael Iskander just said. Michael, by the way, from his mind to God's ears to the red carpet, somebody should make a movie about Maximilian Kolbe. They did. This is the movie. This is the story. This is the film that doesn't just introduce you to one saint, but introduces you to a collection of men in a room, in a space where there was deep darkness and deep sadness and hardship and hurt. And yet in that hardship and in that hurt, they find joy. They find redemption. We're here on the red carpet. More and more people are arriving. They're going to bring us more folks to chat with as we're hanging out here. Some of my good friends just walked in. We can't spin the camera around, but there's all these wonderful people who are here to celebrate this particular film. One of the other things, and Michael pointed this out, Maximilian Kolbe is often, I hear this a lot when I travel and when I speak and all this stuff. Maximilian Kolbe is, for a lot of people, an entry point saint. He's a saint where you learn about this sacrifice. Here's a man who was willing to die for a complete stranger. I mean, a relative stranger. They were in this concentration camp suffering together. But in this concentration camp, he says yes in a moment that can only really be described as filled with grace. Maximilian Kolbe is able to say, I will give myself in place of this man. When John Paul II canonized Maximilian Kolbe, he talked about this moment, this heroic virtue moment. Now, I started to tease this out a little while ago, but I'll say it again on this Triumph of the Heart U.S. premiere live stream on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So who a saint is canonized by, I think it matters a little bit. I think it's an important thing. Yesterday in our church, Pope Leo XIV canonized two new saints, Pier Giorgio Frassati and Carlo Acutis, the first two saints of Leo XIV's pontificate. If you go all the way back to 1982, 4 years into John Paul II's pontificate, he canonized, in the first two canonizations, Maximilian Kolbe. One of the first saints, John Paul II, raised to the altars, Saint Maximilian Kolbe. And so here we are at this premiere sharing about Maximilian Kolbe, sharing the joy, the excitement, the life. I've got some friends who are behind me who've arrived at the red carpet who are excited. We've got more folks who are going to be joining us for chit chat in just a minute. In a second, I'm just going to go grab somebody and say, hey, do you want to talk on a live stream? Because I'm sure you're tired of looking at my mean mug this whole time. But we're so excited as so many people are here. You can see as the actors are walking the carpet, this right here plays Franz. he's kind of the villain of the film if you really think about it, but he's a very humanized villain in the film. I've seen the movie on a tiny laptop screen. I'm trying to say that at least a dozen times so people know why I'm so excited to watch it on the big screen tonight. But one of the cool things about it is none of the characters in this movie are flat. There's depth, there's story, there's beauty in who these people are and in the way that they're able to bring these characters to life. Somebody pointed out to me a little while ago, we don't know the actual names and identities and families and the stories of the people who died in that cell with Maximilian Kolbe. Maximilian Kolbe was not canonized Maximilian Kolbe and companions. He was canonized on his own because of his heroic virtue long before he arrived in that cell. But it's that heroic virtue of his life that led him to being able to say, I'll give it up. That led him to say, I will step in for this man so he can live with his family, so he can have this future. Of course, as we welcome more and more people to this live stream, we're going to ask them a little bit about what they loved about the movie, loved being a part of the movie. And as more folks join us, we're actually joined right now. I'm so excited to be joined by some lovely folks here. Okay, so she's an actor and he's an actor. Introduce yourselves to our live stream audience.
Oh, wow. Hi, I'm Christopher Sherwood. I play Carl Fritsch in Triumph of the Heart.
And you did a lot of things, I heard, but who are you and what do you play in the movie?
My name is Sharon Oliphant. I play Franziska, Carl Fritsch's wife, and I also associate produced with Cecilia and Anthony.
Now, I think some would argue that you guys are the villains of the movie, but you're both lovely, so I'm not intimidated in this moment. But tell us about how you found the role, came to the role, and then what it meant to play the bad guys in a movie, and yet there's so much depth beyond just the villains.
Yeah, I found the role on a casting website and applied, and I was so blown away by the story that I just wanted to be a part of it. And one has to acknowledge what they look like, and I sort of actually look quite a lot like the real Carl Fritsch. So that was the role that I applied for. It's an uncomfortable responsibility to take on an historical figure who is responsible for the deaths of millions of Jews as well as the people in this film. By all accounts, he was a very unpleasant character. The challenge as an actor is to sort of balance that against trying to create something that's more interesting than showing one-dimensional evil. So yeah, it's bringing all these things together in a way that feels responsible to the cause, I suppose.
I appreciate that we see the two of you at home, not just in a camp and not just on your own, but together. What was it like to build that dynamic, knowing that this is going to end up in this movie and people are going to see the home life of these, I don't want to say caricatures over the course of human history, but there's some depth on the other side. So what was that like to build?
Oh, it was honestly a dream. The scenario wasn't ideal, obviously. You know, we are the villains, but by all accounts, he was under the assumption he was doing right by his family, and she was being led into something that was notoriously, toxic, obviously, situation. So trying to portray, I tried not to think of her as knowing she was a villain, but yet she was stoic and cold, and my heritage is German on both sides. So I did some personal research into my history, and my great-great-grandparents, were alive during all of this. So kind of putting myself in that mindset of not necessarily reflecting on, I'm playing a villain, but playing just a human that is caught in something really horrible and putting myself in someone else's clothes, someone else's environment. Because in truth, I was coming into Poland very fresh-faced. We were all kind of not 100% sure what we were getting into, so it felt, I'm sure she had those feelings when she transitioned into the home that they were in, and so everything around her was crumbling. And that, as a woman, you can feel when your husband is slipping away, when your children are. So I really, it was a beautiful challenge for me, and Christopher made it really an impactful experience. And of course, Anthony and Cecilia and the whole team were so phenomenal. So hair, makeup, it all helps.
Creating rats. We're not going to give away rat stories. That's for the after party and the after stream. Thank you guys so very much for taking the time to join us. I think you'll have somewhere else to go, somebody else to talk to. So follow them on their socials. We'll drop those in the chat. Thank you guys. It's always such a joy to be able to talk to the actors who brought this movie to life, who brought this to the world. And their characters, and I love what they just shared with us. You know, they are villains. They're the bad guys. They are the ones who are living next door to a concentration camp. And yet, you don't feel sympathy for them and think, oh, you know, they were secretly good guys by any means. But you are able to recognize that in their experience and in their life, they were at a point in human history where they didn't know what they didn't know. And so I think it's really, really great to be able to see that depth. We've got some folks from Napa, California who said they can't wait to have their screening. One of the really cool things is that this movie was a part of the recent Napa Institute at the end of July. And so a number of very influential and important people were able to stream the film and we're able to share it and help get screenings. There's been a great grassroots effort in bringing this movie to life. There have been all these wonderful fundraisers and people who have bought tickets and theaters that have very graciously opened themselves up so that folks can come see it. If you want to find out more about how to stream this movie, go to colbymovie.com or just Google Triumph of the Heart. We are so excited. Who? Lauren. Oh, and this is really, we interviewed her sister a little while ago, but now we have her. She's joining us. Lauren Cimarelli. It's so, I'm excited to meet you. I was telling your sister earlier, we're big fans of Sim Kids and all of your great, see, they're so excited because I love their ABCs. But tell us a bit about your role and who you play in this beautiful film.
So I played Our Lady Mary. It was based on Our Lady of Czestochowa, which I never heard of her before this, so that was interesting, like learn more about her. Yeah.
So what did you learn? Because that's a very specific and unique devotion to the Polish people.
Yeah, well, it was a lot about this icon that survived like war and fire and being slashed, and it just like never was destructed. So it was very like, it was a different side of Mary to me, like a more like rugged, almost like war-torn Mary. So I thought that was really interesting.
Now, this is a return to acting for you. At least that's what they told me in my prep work. Tell me about how you wanted to come to this role. Like somebody called you up, somebody said, we need you. Like what was the story to get involved in this very specific, hard-fought project?
It was actually interesting because I think they had someone else to be Mary, but they dropped out because of that Screen Actors Guild strike. And my sister knew Anthony, the director, and he reached out and was like, hey, would one of you guys want to do Mary? And I was like, yeah, I could try it.
So it was kind of organic in the way that it developed. Yeah. And then, I mean, I've heard some stories of set, and I'm not going to give away when you appear in the film. And that's a good way to put it, appear in the film. But what was it like to work with these guys? I mean, these are professional actors and a film crew in Poland. It's a bit of a mission camp experience from what I heard. What was that like for you personally?
Well, it was very much a whirlwind. Like, I was only there for like 2 days and then just went home. So it was a very quick trip, but the whole cast and crew, everyone was so nice, very like faith-filled cast and crew. For such like a dark and serious movie, it was a really like fun experience with everyone. So,
have you seen it in its final form?
I've seen a couple versions of it, but I haven't seen the final one yet.
Well, I'm so excited for you to see it. It's beautiful. You do a great job. Walk the carpet. Enjoy your journey down and your photos. You look great. Thank you for taking the time to join us. She plays Our Lady of Czestochowa, the Black Madonna, in the movie. She mentioned a little bit about who Our Lady of Czestochowa is, and it's this great, great devotion to the Polish people that was hugely significant and important to Maximilian Kolbe. John Paul II actually talks about, in some of his writings and some of his speeches and just over the years, he talks about the Our Lady of Czestochowa as this remarkable example of the resilience of the Polish people. And Anthony told me a little bit beforehand about some of the folks that have this great devotion. We've got some more people joining us. We've got some executive producers, some good-looking guys. You probably know them from the Beatitudes, a really fantastic dad podcast. You're a little more dressed up than normal in the podcasting studio. Nick, Jeff, welcome to our Triumph of the Heart live stream. Okay, so tell me You put money and effort behind this movie. Why?
That's a big question, but this is a calling of the Holy Spirit. Knowing Anthony, watching the very first kind of proof of concept that he did, we were both moved. We were in a hotel room on a business trip, watched it, and we were both in tears. And we're like, Anthony, what is this? This moved us so much. What are you doing with this? And it was truly a guide of the Holy Spirit from that moment on, as Anthony would name obstacles that were big to him. And we're like, okay, we can handle those. We can't write a script. We don't know how to go and direct like this beautiful, amazing piece of art, but we can do the other stuff. So it was like, let's just join on to this amazing team called Anthony D'Ambrosio's like pain turned into triumph.
His little cohort. Nick, tell me about, your business partner says, let's throw money at a movie in Poland. They have to film it under 45 days because of visa restrictions. I mean, did your heart sink or were you just thrilled?
I think it was me that was like reading the script. I'm like, wow, we have got to do this, right? It was really just compelling. Just as you think about like the triumph of the heart, like truly, like, and the way that Anthony's story is reflected through the movie, but it just came through. We read the script, like this just has to exist. We're going to see, we're going to send a few emails, make a few phone calls and see what we can do here. And it, Holy Spirit.
There's been this consistent story of the grit that it took to make this movie. We heard some of this last night at the pre-party of some of the crazy things happening both on set and off set and moments where perhaps foibles could have completely and totally catastrophized the whole thing. And yet, call of the Holy Spirit, it makes it a reality. So what are you so excited for folks to actually see when they watch this movie tonight? And not revealing anything, but like favorite moments or parts that have moved you?
I think when you watch this film, you don't see it as a viewer, you experience it as someone in the cell with Colby. Regardless of your background, regardless of your beliefs, it's so real and it represents every human person that all of us have darkness and struggles and reasons to want to give up or to just capitulate in the situation. But you need the Colbys, right? And Colby has a pathway to something that's transcendent and much bigger than all of us. So it's really the whole pattern of who are you in this movie throughout each of the different scenes. Because for me, it morphed from one time to the next, especially as I got to see each of these characters develop. It's like, oh, yeah, I feel that, yes.
That's a really great point, because even the way it's shot, you feel like you're just sitting on the ground with these guys. You're not watching it from up above. It's not a 360. I mean, it's very much one-on-one. What about you? What's your favorite part?
Yeah, I think you might watch another film, right? And you might tell your friend, hey, this is a good movie. When you watch Triumph of the Heart, you'll be compelled to tell somebody, like, what'd you do this weekend? Like, oh my gosh, stop the presses. You have to go watch this, because everyone can identify and relate to those struggles in your own life that you have to push through and pursue God through those moments. It resonates with everyone.
Well, you guys look great. You got the memo on the colors. Thanks for helping bring this film to life and for having us at your house last night. Jeff has donkeys at his house, so I had a donkey therapy session last night. I think it was with Donkey Kong. It was a very fat donkey.
One donkey is named Donkey Kong.
Yeah, and was large, like very large donkey. So thank you for hosting us. Thanks for producing this incredible. Walk the red carpet, have a good time. We'll see you at the party afterwards. So we've got more folks to join us here on the Triumph of the Heart live stream in just a few moments. Jeff and Nick run an incredible company called Undivided Life, where they really invest in incredible projects, but also brought this to life in a really distinct and beautiful way. We've got some more folks that are going to be joining us on the carpet, including Dr. Italy himself. You've got to join me on the carpet. You look smashing. Is this an Italian suit of some kind?
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing but Italian suits. Only Italian, yeah.
Okay, so I have to tell you, I watched last night at the pre-party. I didn't watch anybody speaking. I watched you as they were speaking, because you were so proud. And there were moments where it looked like you were about to cry, moments where you were laughing, and you have a full body laugh. Your son brought something to life that's never been done before. What are you most proud of with this whole production?
I'm most proud of the way that everybody really sacrificed. This is not just an artistic work. I kind of liken it to painting an icon. It's like a motion icon instead of a motion picture. And that meant that it was done in prayer and fasting, it was done in sacrifice, it was done in brotherhood. And that still is going on right now as we prepare for release. So behind the scenes, there's so much love, there's so much devotion to the Lord and to one another that's made this, I think, a spiritual work. Yeah.
Today's Mary's birthday. So, I mean, happy birthday to Mama Mary. We made a movie about your boy, right? Like that kind of feels like a good gift to give to her.
Absolutely.
There's a part in the movie everybody's going to be moved by. You talked about it a little bit last night. And at our after party later, we're going to share it with our VIPs. But tell me about a moment of song in the movie that is really going to change people's lives.
Yeah. Well, all of a sudden, as these guys are struggling to just put up with each other and not be angry with God, Colby starts singing Hail Holy Queen. And it's a Gregorian melody. Lots of us don't know it, but it actually is a Gregorian melody that I learned as a 16-year-old going to a Trappist monastery. It's sung at St. Joseph's Abbey, Spencer, Massachusetts. So it became part of my family's lullaby. My kids went to sleep to Hail Holy Queen. And so anyway, you find the prisoners singing that particular melody together. And it's really obviously a powerful thing for anyone to see, but it was especially meaningful for our family. Our own family prayer made its way into this movie. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful film. And as more and more people are gathering to celebrate it, I mean, you as a dad who have done so many things professionally and personally, and of course you're excited for Anthony and for all of your kids who've really been a part of this. I heard that your wife was like, what do I do for this? And talk for a brief moment for me about the family D'Ambrosio and the way everybody, I mean, I feel like you guys need a band and like go on the road, but the way everybody really poured into this.
Yeah. Our family charism, I think one of them is hospitality. So fundamentally, we had actors staying at our house because there was a scene shot in Dallas. My wife helped with catering. But generally, my wife was just kind of like mother. And I had a role of father because we're family. I mean, the church is a family. We're not an institution. And so if we're going to make a film that's going to express the life and the heart of the church, it's got to come out of a family dynamic. So really, that's part of what we're here for, is to love on everybody and make everyone feel part of the family of God. Yeah.
Well, the movie, the men become a family within it in a lot of ways, even as they're dying, and yet there's great hope in the midst of that suffering. Do you think that there's a lesson for our society to learn at this moment in that?
Absolutely. Most people don't know the sources about Colby, his letters, his primary sources. Most of us have we've heard second, third hand, but actually the people who knew him, when you read their testimony, you find out that Colby had an amazing knack of building community. Not only 800 friars who are Franciscan and who are gung-ho for God, but even every place he went where he met people who are not Catholic, they felt welcome, they felt loved, they felt drawn in. And did some become Catholic? A few did, but others just were changed forever. And that includes people who were Jews, people who had lost their faith and were kind of secularists. So in this cell, he did, in this movie, what he really did in the prisons, in Japan. He brought people together, helping them recognize humanity, their common humanity, and also recover, if they lost it, faith in God, including some Jewish prisoners. So that's a pretty amazing thing, honestly.
It's a remarkable film. Congratulations on all of it. Have you walked the carpet yet? You got your photo taken? And he's starting the red carpet with all of us, right? Well, Marcelino D'Ambrosio, thank you for joining us. Enjoy your journey. It's not Italy, but it's a good little journey down. So thank you for being with us. That's the father of Anthony D'Ambrosio, creator of this incredible movie. And I have to tell you, so Dr. Italy himself, that's kind of his nickname, dritaly.com, if you want to travel with Dr. D'Ambrosio. A few weeks ago, it was probably even before that, I think it was like June, I got a call. I didn't have this guy's number. I knew Anthony a little bit. We'd had him on the show a handful of times. But I got a call, hopped on the phone, spent about a half an hour talking with him. And here was a man whose heart was on full display, whose love, not just for his son, but for this project, just was so evident. And when a dad talks as lovingly about his child's project as Marcelino did about Anthony's movie, on the one hand, there's a part of you that's like, it's your kid. Of course you think it's good. And then on the other hand, there was this instant awareness of, that's a smart guy who's seen the world, who's done a lot, who's created a lot, that's a really intelligent and talented man, I should pay attention to what he's creating. I should pay attention to what he's crafting. And this film, Triumph of the Heart, is such a beautiful showcase of that hospitality, an incredible showcase of what it really means to endure that intense hardship. We've got some more people who are going to be joining us on the red carpet. I promise it's not just going to be me as we continue on. I believe we're getting a little close to when they're going to shuttle everybody into the actual viewing of this incredible party and of this incredible film. I say party because we've got a party after the fact. We'll share some of it on social media and you'll be able to see all the good times that we're having. If you have a comment, if you have a thought, if you have a question, you can drop it into our chat on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook where we are live streaming. And you can join us here on this red carpet as people are answering questions and as they're walking the carpet, telling us a little bit about their experience. There's more VIPs who have popped into the room. And so we're so excited. I'm going to turn for just a second and talk to the runner of all of this and see if we've got more folks. Do we have more folks who are going to be joining us in a few minutes? Okay, cool. We've got a few more people who are going to come hang out with us here on this red carpet. One of the things I want to highlight to all of you is that our partners at Crossroads Collective and at EWTN Studios and so many other amazing ministries who have really believed in the project. A few weeks ago, Anthony had posted on social media, he said that we just need to kind of activate all of the movers and the shakers and the folks who are doing things in our church. And those people are here. Jackie, Francois Angel, and Bobby Angel, Dr. Andrew and Sarah Swafford. She's like a doctor. All the D'Ambrosio siblings, Kristen Conbo, Kirsten, so many just incredible folks who wanted to be a part of this. And as we're in this live stream, as we're seeing all these great people, we've got another couple of fantastic actors joining us. You finally made it to me, guys. Alex and Oleg, thank you so much for joining us. I feel like I know you guys after watching you in a cell. Tell me about your roles in this movie.
I play Jonas, a Ukrainian Jew, who was in the cell with other beautiful personalities. He found them beautiful only, unfortunately, by the end of his journey, but that was his the best and brightest discovery, I think.
I play Johan, who is quite a presence in the cell. He's like quite a physical presence. He's often leading the physicality of things. He doesn't say a lot, but I don't want to give anything away, but he's often, when something happens in the cell, he's usually the first one to be there in a physical way doing something, and he's like a disruptor. And I guess you're unsure where his journey's going to go, but hopefully it goes the way that is satisfying for people.
Just to add, one of the tasks of Jonas was to control guys, especially like Ion. Johan. Yeah, because I think Jonas was kind of like a police officer in the cell, who policed the discipline in the cell.
And I guess you're as well with a voice of reason in some ways.
Yes. And Johan was one of the troublemakers. He was the troublemaker in the cell, I would say.
I guess so.
There's a dynamic that develops among the men who are dying. I mean, there's no getting out of this alive. How did y'all develop that rapport as an actor community?
Well, we had, I don't know, like a month or maybe less than that of rehearsal, and outside of the set, we were all like living together, sleeping in bunks, like all sharing like 2 bathrooms. There's like 30 of us together.
So there's no trailer on set. You could disappear.
Rabbits, inside.
Earplugs for all the snoring. And like that had a huge amount to offer in terms of like getting us together, the camaraderie of it, and also giving us the freedom and the vulnerability to be able to experience and allow ourselves to feel those masses of emotions that had to be felt in that space. So I think that was a big part of it. And also just being together all the time in that cell, in that mind space, really like let that come through.
Yeah, we know how we breathe, we know how we move, we know how we react to certain things, so that helped us a lot, really.
And this is a movie where starvation is at the center. And somebody told a story last night about when a character would die, y'all had a little tradition. Can you tell us this fun tradition on set?
It's funny, it's interesting talking about this because it is such an intense, difficult important, shocking story that happened, we had to find moments of lightness within that, because otherwise you can't live the terrors and the atrocities that they lived. So what we did on the days that we would reach the point in our shooting schedule where our characters would die, we would celebrate by giving each other a massive chocolate muffin and singing Happy Death Day
Happy Death Day to you.
to the tune of Happy Birthday.
Yeah.
Which, it sounds dark and morbid, but also you have to find the humor and the joy in somewhere.
We would balance it out, all the darkness. So.
Because y'all, so if people understand, you had to lose weight, you had to drop weight to look very vapid in the movie and to be suffering. So this was like a rejoicing too, where, okay.
That muffin brought us back to life for sure.
Well, we might have some chocolate muffins for you guys at the after party. Somebody made an order. So guys, thank you all so much for taking the time. Enjoy your red carpet walk and photos, and we're grateful. You can find them in, of course, Triumph of the Heart. Incredibly talented men. You're going to watch them suffer in such a profound way, but there's great joy in their characters at the same time. One of the beautiful things Anthony was sharing with me a little bit before we kind of started all of the prep for the red carpet, which it's getting louder in here. I hope you can still hear us and you're still with us here on the live stream. You can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. No, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. You can find Triumph of the Heart in like an old Twitter account. It's Passion Colby, because that's kind of the subtitle of this movie, Triumph of the Heart, the passion of Maximilian Kolbe, the suffering of Maximilian Kolbe. And it's notable, you say the passion and resurrection of our Lord, the passion and resurrection. And Brian just said in our chat, keep praying, and he's praying, and all of us are praying that this movie reaches as many souls as possible. I think what's important is that this is not just a movie. I mean, yeah, it's a movie. It's a good movie. But it's a film that in so many ways is going to inspire people, I think, to do three things. To look up more information about Maximilian Kolbe. There's some fantastic books out there that tell his story. It will also encourage people, I think, to have a deeper devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary. Dr. D'Ambrosio reminded us just a few minutes ago that there's a beautiful moment in the movie where they sing Hail, Holy Queen, which is a prayer that every single one of us could incorporate into our prayer and into our life every day. And then I think the third thing that it'll do is remind people that it is in suffering, it is in hardship, it is in pain, that the Lord is able to be with us. Jesus doesn't die on the cross just so that he takes away our suffering. He dies on the cross and he's with us in our suffering. Now we've got some more folks who are going to be joining us on the red carpet in just a few minutes. I realize I'm just kind of talking at everybody right now, just so you get a sense of what's going on in the room. We've got folks walking up and down the red carpet, actors and all the folks. We've got VIPs who've arrived, who are really excited to be here in the mix of things, to have ongoing conversations. We've got some influencers who share about stuff on social media and really bring the joy of the gospel to life. And I think we've got joining us, they are known as the Catholic Couple on Instagram and YouTube. Introduce yourselves to the folks here on the Triumph of the Heart live stream. Do your spiel. We got one mic.
I'm Bobby. I'm the convert Catholic, and this is my beautiful wife.
Katie.
She's the
Cradle Catholic. We messed it up.
Yes.
Well, you got to go to Poland for the international premiere. Tell me a little bit about that experience of bringing Triumph of the Heart global.
Yeah, it was totally different to see how the Polish people receive the movie, because it's so near and dear to their hearts that they live through this. Like, you could feel the suffering that their country goes through, but they still have this hope. And Kolbe, is the person of hope in this, the darkest of place that you could be in Auschwitz, that by one sacrificial act of love, that it literally changed not just that prison cell with those other 9 men, but it reverberated through the whole camp, through a whole country, that we're still here today to talk about this beautiful story by a heroic act of virtue that one man did.
So he says, I'm going to Poland. What did you say?
It was our first week of school. I said, okay, that's fine. I have a lot of other things on my plate right now. It sounds good. and it was actually really exciting. What an awesome opportunity, And just, he came back just more inspired by this group, that this isn't just a movie. This is their mission. And it's so beautiful to see people on fire for our faith, making quality media, right? That is going to reach not just Catholics, but people on the outside too, because it's a story that can resonate with anyone in any walk of faith, I think. I have yet to see it though, so I'm really excited to see it. Yes.
You've seen it. Yeah. Tell me what struck you the most when you got to see it, and you got to see it with people. So there were a crowd of people watching it. What was moving to you?
For me, like afterwards, to see the emotion of all the people, all three of the premieres, there were standing ovations. One at the hometown of Maximilian Kolbe, his family was there. There were people whose mom and dad died in Auschwitz, so it was very personal to these people. Like it's easy to step back, but to be with the people, and we went with a priest who was. Had connections to Kolbe. It's like we went to his house where he was born in the bed we got to touch. We went to his friary where literally the Nazis snatched him out of the room where his desk was. We touched his desk where he wrote all those things, went to his radio station. But what really struck me the most was we got a private tour on the friary where the cemetery was at, where the body of Francis Gajowniczek is actually buried in the plot where Maximilian Kolbe was supposed to be buried, next to where his brother is buried, who was also a priest. So it was very moving. The whole thing was, like she said, it was like a mission. It's like the people that came together to make this movie. It wasn't about Hollywood, things like that. It was like Anthony's story of suffering and how through that suffering, that's the story of our faith, is that through dying, we rise again. And when we had that sacrificial love and we offered up and we united to Jesus on the cross, like miracles happen, our lives are changed, and it's just inspiring to see the Polish people receive this movie because they feel it's so personal.
Yeah, I love that it's mission. It felt like that was a pilgrimage journey experience. So, well, thank you guys for spending the time with us and for walking the red carpet, for being here to support Anthony. Where can folks follow you and listen to you?
So on Instagram, we're The Catholic Couple 1, and on YouTube, The Catholic Couple, and we're on Spotify, all the places you can find podcasts.
Well, thank you guys for being here. Find them, The Catholic Couple 1 on Instagram, like she said. Enjoy the walk down the red carpet. Take a load off. You've got some high heels on. And we're grateful that you spent some time with us on the live stream. Absolutely. We've got some more folks who are going to be joining us as we spend time with you here on the live stream. We've got someone joining us. I'm very excited. Sherry, welcome. Introduce yourself to our Triumph of the Heart viewing audience.
Hi, I'm Cherie Ballinger, and I'm so happy to be here. So excited.
How did you come to this project, and what do you know, and what are you so excited about?
Well, I'm here to support Anthony and the team. I know his father as well, and I feel like as Catholics, we have to come together and rise up and support our saint stories. And I can't tell you how excited I am that today is our Blessed Mother's birthday, and that's not lost on me. And what a beautiful day to watch a film on a saint who had such a great devotion to our Blessed Mother, And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see this film. I'm really, really proud of Anthony and Cecilia and the whole team, and it's really my great honor to be here.
So it's Mary's birthday. Do you have a particular Marian devotion or title that you love the most?
Absolutely. So I will say everyone needs to pray the rosary every single day, at least once, right? The rosary. And my favorite title of Mary is Our Lady of Lourdes. And there's a special reason for that. She literally spared my life. And, it's a whole story, but on February 11th, which is that feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes in 2014, I had a horrible fall, but I prayed several rosaries on my way to work that morning. And she truly spared my life. And ever since then, I had a traumatic brain injury. I was down for 4 years. But you know what? She gave me a miraculous recovery. And to this day, I tell people she's my boss. She is. And if I can impart anything to anyone, it's to have devotion to our Blessed Mother. Pray the rosary. She is so good to us. She loves us so much. And again, I just can't think of a better way to celebrate her birthday than being here today with everyone, with all of us.
Happy birthday, Mary, for sure. Triumph of the Heart, a great way to do it. Sherry, thank you so much for taking the time. Join us on the red carpet. There's folks who want to talk to you, a photographer ready to snap your photo. Follow her on social media. It's the really beautiful part about all of this is that we are so excited that as these influencers and creators and artists and actresses are able to join us on the red carpet, we've got some more folks who are joining us in just a few minutes. We've got I recognize that we've got the camera and the sun's coming through and we're hanging out with all of you and the sun's going down. So I promise, don't take your eyes off of our screen while we're hanging out here on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube. I think one of the really fun and exciting parts of it that I've been so impressed by is that there are so many people here who know Anthony, who know the D'Ambrosio family, who have a devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary, who are able to say, well, this is how I got connected, or this is who I got to know, or these are the ways that I was captivated by the story. If you're just joining us, we're here at the Triumph of the Heart red carpet premiere here at the University of Texas at Dallas. I'm Katie McGrady. I'm the host of the Katie McGrady Show on the Catholic Channel on SiriusXM. We've got so many people who have joined us here on the red carpet. We've got so many influencers and VIPs and priests of the Diocese of Dallas. So many amazing folks who are excited to talk about this movie, which means a lot to them, I think, both personally and obviously professionally. This is Anthony's first feature film. Just a little bit of history about Triumph of the Heart. When Anthony first had the idea, he sat down and he made a 12-minute short film. It was a proof of concept film. And in proof of concept, what you're essentially doing is trying to get donors and even actors to be interested in the project itself. That 12 minutes, this little mini version, was just Anthony and one actor in a room kind of proving the idea. Eventually it became a 22-minute short film, a little bit longer. And now we have this almost 2-hour feature-length film premiering this evening here at the University of Texas at Dallas. We are so excited now at this Triumph of the Heart premiere to welcome onto the red carpet a cast member. Noah is joining us. Noah, welcome, and join us here on the red carpet. Noah, introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, I'm Noah Archibald.
And Noah, who do you play and what is your role in the movie?
Sure, I play one of the SS guards.
So what was that like to take on a bad guy role?
Yeah, it was hard to start. Really interesting because the way it's written, Anthony had allowed space and wanted space for the guards to kind of struggle with watching them survive, and so trying to find the humanity in these people who didn't do very humane things historically. Right, his unspeakable horrors is difficult, and was. And also shooting it in Poland and being in the regalia and such, and knowing there's a certain reverence that comes with the material was challenging. Yeah.
Had you ever played a role like this or that required this kind of prep?
Not so much. I've certainly played bad guys, but not ones that have lasted throughout history as kind of the greatest villains of all time. So no, but I've certainly played people we weren't supposed to like. Yeah.
So when you were preparing for that, I mean, you've got this cohort of men who are dying together, living together. Did the guards and kind of the bad guys spend their own time on set to build camaraderie? Like, what did that look like?
Kind of. It wasn't so isolated between the two, but there was certainly a natural camaraderie that the men had that were in the cell. And we, because Maciek, the other SS guard that I was closest to, and Chris, who's floating around here somewhere, wonderful Chris, weren't privy to those, shaving their heads and starving throughout the process. We certainly had our own isolation from it, but there was no intentional, we weren't kept separate to try to create a certain bond. But we did, Maciek and I became fast friends, and I think there's just a certain sort of friendship and certain relationship that comes out of creating together and being. But we actually had quite a lovely relationship with the men that were in the cell, because we would come in and we would block out these horribly hard stunt scenes where we are beating some of them to death, and going through and communicating hey, is it okay if we do this? How can I make you feel comfortable? And Anthony did an amazing job of creating reverence in the space and allowing us to take time if it got too heavy, and allowing the men to communicate I know this is important, but I need 5 minutes to do this work. So we had a really great rapport on set. It was lovely.
Well, Noah, we're so excited that you're here and joining us for the premiere. Enjoy walking the red carpet. And my last question, have you seen the film in its entirety yet?
I have. I snuck out to a pre-screen in some city in California, sat there and tried to be very incognito while I watched.
And then watched all people's reactions, of course.
Yeah, watched the woman next to me recognize that I was in the movie, which was unfortunate.
Well, you know, but you did a beautiful job. I've seen it on a little screen, so I'm excited to see it on the big screen. Yes, it's wonderful. Noah, thank you for taking the time. Enjoy the red carpet and joining us on our live stream. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're here at the Triumph of the Heart red carpet premiere in the United States at the University of Texas at Dallas. And, you know, there's such a lovely atmosphere of joy and excitement. We've got somebody else joining us. Introduce yourself to our Triumph of the Heart live stream viewers.
Absolutely. I'm Christine Stevenson. I am the mother of the producer.
And Cecilia has done a phenomenal job of bringing this to life. What was it like to support her as she produced this movie?
It was a challenge, of course, and it was a lot of support, moral support primarily, because she's so organized. She knows what she's doing, but sometimes she kind of forgets the everyday things that she needs to do.
Remember to eat.
Yeah, literally, remember to eat. Take a break. Your health is important. So those sorts of things. And I got to go over to Warsaw, or I didn't get to, but I chose to go over to Warsaw. Beautiful time. Spent a week there while they were filming. It was really, really fun. I got to see how the cast and crew interacted. Like all 13 or 14 of the crew in one Airbnb, very close quarters, very interesting.
So what do you think people need to know about how the movie was made? Like, what was it behind the scenes that brought this film to life in a completely different way?
Oh, I think Anthony's personal, as I'm sure you've heard, Anthony's own personal experience, what he went through with, and his turn to St. Maximilian Kolbe, and Cecilia was brought on board. And I think as they all came together and they really started understanding what Kolbe went through in that cell, it really gelled the team. And so they were very prayerful. They were very intentional. It was really, and I was only there for a week to see that. It was very amazing to see all of that.
Now, we had the opportunity to talk to Dr. Italy, Anthony's dad, and we asked him, okay, what was the most moving part of the film that he's excited for people to see? So I want to ask you the same question without revealing any secrets, definitely not the end, but what really challenged you and that you can't wait for listener or viewers to really be captivated by?
There's a particular scene at the end that really, I can't give it away. I know. There's a great scene near the end that really focuses on Maximilian Kolbe and his love for the Blessed Mother. So hard not to...
Yeah, no. We interviewed the woman who plays the Blessed Mother a little while ago. So folks know Mary makes an appearance. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and for supporting your daughter in this incredible project. Enjoy your walk down the red carpet and get your photo taken. Thank you for joining us. Mother of producer Cecilia. One of the really cool things about this is that, and I made this comment earlier, there's this familial atmosphere, not just here, but in the way it was created, the way it was crafted, the way it was written, the way it was funded. We've got somebody else joining us here on the red carpet. Join us and introduce yourself to our Triumph of the Heart live stream.
I'm Christian. I was a double for the son of the man who executed Maximilian Kolbe.
What was that like to play a child of history? I mean, a historical figure for you.
I was on there for a little bit, but I mean, they were telling us what to do, and it had pressure, and but it was really cool because St. Maximilian Kolbe, he was like my favorite saint for a long time. So my cousin Max died, and he was like, his last name was Raymond, and St. Maximilian Kolbe's first name was Raymond. And then, so when he died, it just like connected, and I just, through Maximilian Kolbe, I felt that my cousin was in heaven, and so he was just really important to me.
So how beautiful that you get to be a part of a movie that tells the story. Had you acted before? What was your experience?
I have been in plays. That was my first movie, but like right now I'm in the play Newsies Junior.
Who do you play in Newsies?
I am Morris, a Delancey brother, and a ensemble.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us at the Triumph of the Heart premiere. You get to walk the red carpet, your first big red carpet, I'm sure. So we're so proud of you, and we're so grateful that you took the time to join us. Congratulations. And I think you go there next. We're here at the Triumph of the Heart premiere. He plays the son of Franz, who, of course, is the big baddie of the movie. But I want to highlight something I heard Dr. Ambrosio say a little while ago, kind of out of the corner of my ear. He was talking about how none of the characters in Triumph of the Heart are flat. They're not flat characters. These are characters with depth. These are characters with history. These are characters that were, in some instances, obviously historical figures. And so in being able to bring them to life and being able to showcase who they were and what they did, how they suffered, and hopefully suffered well, suffered in the midst of this hardship, knowing that the Lord was present. We've got somebody else joining us, Eliza Montz from Eliza Writes Things, looking stunning. Eliza, welcome to our Triumph of the Heart live stream. So tell me what you were most excited about with this Triumph of the Heart film.
I am so excited always when I see the saints really come to life, and when we see them no longer as statues or stained glass windows that feel so distant and far away, but as real breathing human beings who had favorite things and unfavorite things, and sports that they liked to play, and just all of the beautiful things that come with being a human. And we know that that was true for Jesus as well. And so in a whole movie about St. Maximilian Kolbe, I am thrilled to be able to see those little moments that made him such a human, help him feel less far away and more like he is truly our friend, which he is.
Have you seen any clips or scenes or screeners? It's brand new.
Just the trailer. I was saving it for tonight.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, are you a crier?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so have your tissues ready because it's very moving. Today is Mary's birthday, so we're giving her this gift of a movie for Triumph of the Heart. Happy birthday, Mary. Is there any particular Marian devotion? I asked somebody this earlier and they were like, oh, yes. Is there any particular Marian devotion that means a lot to you?
Father Boniface Hicks wrote a beautiful 33-day dedication and consecration to Mary that was much about placing ourselves in her womb right alongside Jesus, which was just language that completely lit my soul on fire and made me so just really resonated to imagine being a child right alongside Jesus of Mary, because that is what we are, but put in that imaginative kind of way was really powerful.
So for this film, Triumph of the Heart, a number of influencers and media folks have gathered together to support it. Why was it important for you to come and be, a Catholic voice in the building?
Just like what I was saying earlier, I am so passionate about the saints being made no longer just statues and stained glass windows that we see that feel far away and distant, but really up close and personal with us. And social media presents a wonderful opportunity to do that as well, where we can help communicate the faith in a way that feels really relatable and everyday, because those of us, like you and me, who are in lay vocations, are called to share Jesus' love in that every day.
Well, where can folks follow you, find you, read your writings, read your review once it goes live?
I'm at Eliza Writes Things on Instagram and on Substack.
We'll walk your red carpet. There's folks waiting to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Eliza over on Eliza Writes Things on Substack, which is, of course, a blogspot type thing. Now, I want you to know, we can't pivot, but believe me when I say we've got a ton of VIPs who are starting to make their way into the theater. We've also got folks who bought tickets, a number of general admission folks who are looking fantastic, dressed to the nines. We invited them to come and to celebrate this film, to fill the theater. So many amazing people who have decided, you know what, I want to come see a really good movie about a really profound and amazing saint. I was mentioning a minute ago, and I think I've said it pretty consistently throughout our live stream here at the Triumph of the Heart US premiere, that it's Mary's birthday. And we joked a little while ago, right? Like the Blessed Virgin Mary, who plays a huge role in this film because of the devotion that St. Maximilian Kolbe had. Maximilian Kolbe believed that he was a knight in some ways for the Blessed Virgin Mary, a Knights of the Immaculata, this idea that we are on mission with the Blessed Virgin Mary to proclaim the gospel, to proclaim truth, but to also introduce people to Jesus Christ. And while this film is objectively a beautiful movie about suffering and the triumph of the will in the midst of that suffering, the triumph of recognizing God's goodness in the midst of that suffering, it's also a really beautiful film that introduces people to the faith that one man had, Maximilian Kolbe, and how that faith transformed a cell, transformed the lives of 9 men. And so I think we've got somebody else joining us here on the live stream. Are we really excited? Come on in. You're going to stand right here. Introduce yourself to our viewing audience for the Triumph of the Heart premiere.
Yeah. So my name is Patrick Blonsky, and I was the first AC and B camera operator for the project. Well,
So it's so beautiful because you were behind a camera. Yeah. What was it like to work on a movie with such an intense theme?
intense, just as you put it. So I mean, there were moments where it felt like we were in the cell with this 9 men. So I say that the making of this film in itself was like a pilgrimage, because we were able to almost like be present in the cell as if we were there with the 9 other men, even as a crew member, because every day we were there in the cell, working 14 hours, like extensively making sure we catch the story behind it, and we were able to kind of like meditate upon that as we were working on the film as well. So I mean, very intense project, like even like you put it in the question. So yeah.
Now, you obviously have seen how this movie has come together. What maybe surprised you the most in the first edits and as it's kind of come into this post-production time? I mean, was there anything where you were like, oh, I didn't think we'd edit it together that way, or any particular way that the story was crafted that surprised you?
What honestly surprised me is just like Anthony's whole ambition on getting this project done, and the amount of miracles we experienced while we were being on set. Like, it really felt like there was somebody else, whether it was God or Mary or even Saint Maximilian Kolbe there, that was helping us through this project the whole time. And there were times where, being that it's a smaller indie project, working and kind of like Anthony's first time even filming in Poland, there was challenges, but it always happened to work out. Like it's just like we just did what we needed to do, and it worked out. And not only did it work out, but I'm like super proud with how it turned out. So it's beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and walking the red carpet and celebrating the triumph of this film. We're proud. I know it sounds weird to say I'm proud of you guys, but knowing Anthony personally, I know how much it took to make this happen. So thank you for working with him and for crafting something so beautiful.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
We're here at the premiere. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I think she's taking a photo, and she's looking fantastic while she does it. We're going to, of course, continue our live stream. Folks are beginning to stream in. I believe the film starts around 7. We're going to be with you for a few more minutes here on the live stream before we go take our seats. And you can make sure you continue to follow Triumph of the Heart over on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube. So many people are saying congratulations. So many people are saying it's so great to finally see all of this come to fruition. We've got another person joining us here. We've got folks watching from Poland, which means you are up very early in the morning. And so we're grateful that you're spending your time with us. Introduce yourself to the Triumph of the Heart live stream.
Sweet. My name is Michael. I was the first AD on Triumph of the Heart in Poland, and that's my introduction.
Well, tell people, maybe they don't know what happens on a film set. What does an AD really do?
Yeah. First AD's responsibilities is usually schedules, just making sure everything's kind of going right. Working with like the producer and the director and kind of the DP to kind of just make sure that they're on schedule, checking in with all the department heads and just making sure that everyone's kind of doing their job while there's other things going on. And so to me, it's kind of just like the person that's pretty much putting like a fire under everyone's butt. So that's pretty much what it is.
You had the spreadsheet that made sure everything goes. So as you were crafting this film, I know there were challenges. There's always challenges with production. You're filming in a foreign country. You're filming with actors from all over the world. Somebody mentioned a minute ago, there were miracles. There were moments of just great grace. Can you tell us one of those stories?
Yeah, please. One of my favorite memories was actually a time where a lot of the crew couldn't be inside the prison cell in certain scenes, especially when they're very emotional. And we also wanted to just kind of strip down the crew and make sure there's only the camera person, the audio, and the director. And so we would watch the monitor outside the cell. And one of those things that happened was the camera monitor ended up kind of dying during a take. And one of the jobs that I had at that very moment was to make sure no one was going inside the prison cell. And so I remember just being against the door and really just like trying to decide whether or not we're going to rush in and make sure we can get the monitor back up while they're doing this take. And it's a very emotional scene. So I'm like trying to, in my head, just making this decision, like, is this the time where we just allow them to do what they're going to do? Doesn't care about us in the monitor room. They'll pull focus. They'll do the things that they need to do. And it was a very hard decision because like usually it's like we need to make sure the makeup, department's all the, I mean, costumes to focus pulling, like all these people needed to do their jobs at the monitor outside the cell, but it was such like, I knew that if they weren't coming out to like come out to tell us, hey, we need to get things back up, then like something's happening. It ended up being like getting back on a few like minutes later, and then they just kept on rolling, and we ended up like, I don't know, catching up like a couple hours worth of production by filming a couple scenes that we weren't even ready for, but everyone knew, like kind of dialed in. So that's just my favorite memory. It was just like very much like movie magic, like whereas, and like they got out and we're all like kind of in like tears, you know, like just like, wow, that was so beautiful and like really worked out. So yeah.
Oh man, I love that because it's those little things that happen on a movie set or that happen in the production that it's so great to hear that and to hear those stories. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Congratulations. Have you seen the final cut?
I have not. Yeah.
Okay, so this will be your first time, right? So I'm going to watch this guy's face as this movie is playing. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We've got some folks taking photos on the red carpet, as you can see, and we're grateful for him spending the time with us. More folks are making their way into the film, and we've got somebody else joining us here on the live stream. Introduce yourself to our Triumph of the Heart live stream.
Hi, my name is Kat Gerlach, and I was the first AD and also post-production coordinator on the project.
Okay, so we got the second AD a second ago. We're working our way up through the ranks. All right, first AD, he's like your schedule guy. What is your responsibility?
So in a lot of ways, I'm just kind of the keeper of the schedule on set. So I take the schedule, I work with the second AD, and we basically work with each of the different departments and make sure that everything is going on time, make sure everyone knows what's happening next, make sure everyone has the different pieces that they need. And then we also work with the cast and make sure that the cast knows what's going on and that they have everything that they need. And yeah, ultimately just getting our day done, making sure we have all the pieces we need to make the film. So, yeah.
When you were over there in Poland, I'm sure there were a number of challenges, and I mean, it's working in a foreign country, it's keeping everybody kind of contained. What was your favorite part of working with this cast and crew, even in the midst of some of these struggles?
I mean, I think in general it's really cool to just work in a different country because
Okay, thanks. Can you do me a favor? Can you take some photos of me in this final sign off? Like from him behind and then, yeah, just photos, yeah. We're back. We are back at our Triumph of the Heart U.S. premiere, and we've had a fantastic time. We hope you've enjoyed spending time with us here at this premiere here at the University of Texas at Dallas. We're so grateful they've given us access to this Arts and Theater Center. We've got a few hundred people, close to 1,000, who are flooding in, who are so excited to see this movie. We want to give you two things to do. First of all, right now, go to colbymovie.com and make sure you can find where a viewing of this film will be taking place later this week. Buy your tickets, support this movie. It's a phenomenal project. We want you to be a part of it. The second thing we want you to do is go follow Triumph of the Heart on Facebook and on Instagram and post about it. If you watch this live stream tonight, go watch the trailer on social media. If you are excited about this movie, share it with your friends and family. This was not a big Hollywood studio production with funding from rich people who don't care about Catholic stuff. This was a movie made from the heart. This was a film that was funded and brought to life by people who love Maximilian Kolbe and who care very deeply about telling this story. And we want you to be a part of it. We're so grateful you joined us for this live stream. We're so pumped that this movie is hitting theaters on Friday. Thanks for being with us. I'm Katie McGrady. You can listen to me every day on SiriusXM's The Catholic Channel from 2 to 4 Eastern. And we'll see you after the premiere. Thanks for being with us.